The pace of change with AI has been absolutely relentless, hasn't it?
Oh, completely.
It
Yeah.
feels like just a blink ago, we were all just messing around with early chatbots, amazed they could string a sentence together that made some sense.
Right. Just basic stuff.
But things are moving so fast, and the conversation needs to sprint to keep up.
Yeah.
We really need to get beyond the initial hype and look at what's happening right now in 2025 and what that means for where AI is truly heading.
Absolutely. The landscape is fundamentally shifting beneath our feet. It's no longer just about those initial generative AI parlor tricks, creating text or simple images.
Yeah, the novelty phase.
Exactly. We're witnessing AI evolve into something much more integrated, more sophisticated, and moving rapidly towards becoming, well, a core platform for how businesses operate and how people work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to help us, and by us, I mean you, the listener, and us here trying to make sense of it all, understand this crucial moment, we've been diving deep into a comprehensive new analysis. The source material for this deep dive is a significant report titled The Agentic Age: Navigating the 2025 AI Revolution for Enterprise and Workforce Transformation.
It's a hefty title.
It is, but it's framed as an exhaustive analysis, really looking at where AI is genuinely heading next, especially for organizations and the people who work inside them.
And this report is particularly valuable because it deliberately moves past that surface-level discussion you mentioned, right?
Right.
It provides practical, evidence-based insights designed to help both leadership understand the strategic shifts and individual employees figure out how to adapt and leverage this technology in their daily roles.
So our mission in this deep dive is straightforward. We're going to unpack the key findings of this report point by point. We want to give you, our listener, a crystal clear picture of the current AI landscape right now, who the major players are.
Yeah, who's who?
How companies are actually putting AI to work to create real value, and perhaps most importantly, what the big challenges and opportunities are for everyone involved. Our goal is to make you genuinely well-informed about this complex, crucial shift that's impacting literally every industry.
And the report identifies 3 dominant interlocking trends right in its executive summary. These aren't isolated developments. They feed into each other and, fundamentally set the stage for everything else we need to understand about this agentic age.
Okay, let's preview those core themes then. What are the big 3 trends driving this shift?
Okay, first, there's the rise of AI. Agentic AI, this profound move from AI that just sits and waits for your prompt to AI that can actually act autonomously towards a goal.
Okay, AI that does things. Got it.
Second, the accelerating shift to a multimodal ecosystem, acknowledging that different AI models are specializing and that there isn't and likely won't be a single dominant winner.
Right, no one size fits all.
And third, the urgent, absolutely critical need for robust enterprise governance to safely and effectively handle the increasing power and, frankly, the associated risks of these advanced systems.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
But it all ties together. More powerful, autonomous AI requires specialized models, and all of it requires serious governance. Incredibly important stuff.
Definitely.
We'll unpack each of those, plus get into the specifics of who's doing what in the model space, look at real-world applications creating tangible value right now, and discuss concrete steps on how you can navigate this landscape, whether you're leading a team or trying to figure out how AI fits into your own daily work.
Sounds like a plan.
We're pulling these insights directly from the source material, aiming to give you surprising facts and practical takeaways without, hopefully, drowning you in jargon.
Let's dive in.
Okay, let's kick off with the first major section, exploring what the report identifies as the fundamental changes happening in AI right here in 2025. The report makes a strong case that AI is rapidly maturing into a foundational enterprise platform, and is driven by 4 interconnected developments.
Right. This is a significant departure from the initial generative AI boom, which was largely exploratory and, well, consumer-facing.
Yeah.
The technology is becoming deeply embedded into the core operations and workflows of businesses, not just being used for novel experiments or, isolated tasks.
So out of those 4 developments, what's the most profound shift the report puts front and center? What's the big one?
The absolute core concept here, according to the report, the one that reshapes everything, is the evolution from AI that is merely generative, meaning it produces text or images based on instructions to AI that is becoming agentic.
Agentic, okay.
This is a shift past tools that sit passively, waiting for your prompt, and then generating a static response. Okay. We're entering an era of what the report calls autonomous agents.
Autonomous agents.
These are systems that can proactively plan, reason through problems, and execute complex, multi-step tasks all on their own, working towards a specific goal you've given them, often with minimal human intervention along the way.
Okay, agentic. That's the key term here. So how is agentic different from, say, just asking ChatGPT to write an email for me? What does agentic actually mean in practice?
Well, it means the AI is empowered to independently determine the necessary sequence of actions to achieve your stated goal. It's not just writing the email. It might first search for relevant information, draft the email, then perhaps use a tool to check a calendar for scheduling details mentioned in the email, and then send it.
Wow.
These agents can access and use various tools, think web browsers to find real-time information, APIs to interact with other software applications, or code interpreters to run and test code.
Right, so they can actually use other programs.
Exactly. And crucially, they can adapt their plan based on new information or unexpected obstacles they encounter during the process. They're not just waiting for explicit instructions for every single micro-step, they're figuring out the steps themselves to get from the starting point to the end goal.
That sounds like a massive leap in capability. Instead of me having to manually break down a task like search for flights on 3 different sites, compare prices in a spreadsheet, go to the best airline's website, fill out the booking form, enter my details, I could potentially just say, book me the cheapest nonstop flight from New York to London on Tuesday.
Right.
And the agent figures out how to perform all those different actions across different platforms.
Exactly. The report frames this as a fundamental move away from direct manipulation interfaces, like clicking buttons or navigating menus in a traditional GUI.
The way we normally use computers.
Right, the graphical user interface. It's moving towards delegated intent. You state the end goal, the intent behind your request, and the agent translates that intent into a sequence of actions and executes them, often interacting with multiple different applications or websites on your behalf.
Wow. Okay, that changes the whole way we interact with computers. It's less clicking, more telling.
Pretty much delegating the how.
Who are the key players the report points to that are driving this agentic shift? Who's making this happen?
Well, Microsoft is certainly a major champion of this vision. They're articulating a future they call the Agentic Web, where software agents can function independently and collaboratively across the different platforms and services.
The Agentic Web.
And you see this vision manifesting directly in how they're developing their products. The report highlights, for instance, how GitHub Copilot.
Yeah, the coding assistant.
Right, which started as a tool that just suggested code snippets, is being transformed into a full-fledged agent. You could potentially assign it a specific software bug ticket, and it could analyze the relevant code base, understand the error, figure out the fix, implement the code changes, test them, and even generate a full pull request ready for a human developer to review and merge.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
So it's not just suggesting code anymore. It's acting like an actual assistant software developer capable of handling a structured task end to end.
Precisely. That's the agentic part.
Yeah.
And Google is also deeply involved in building out agentic capabilities. They are developing AI agents specifically for internal employee efficiency, aimed at automating complex, multi-step workflows within the company.
Like for their own operations.
Exactly. The report mentions agents for things like managing complex application configurations, gaining deep insights from disparate data sources, or resolving internal security threats autonomously. And they have a project that directly aligns with your flight booking example, Project Mariner.
Project Mariner. Tell me about that. What does it do?
Project Mariner, as described in the report, is an agent designed to interact with external websites and applications, basically mirroring human behavior to complete real-world tasks like making bookings, placing online orders, or filling out forms.
Okay, so we can browse and click and type, essentially.
Yes, and the report specifically states that Google plans for broad developer access to Project Mariner in mid-2025.
Mid-2025, that's really soon.
It suggests this capability is moving rapidly towards being available outside of Google's internal use. So, that book the cheapest flight scenario, that's exactly the kind of capability they are building towards enabling more broadly.
Okay, so this agentic capability isn't some far-off research concept. It's being built into actual products and platforms right now, with plans for wider release very soon. What does a market watcher like Gartner forecast about the adoption of this kind of agentic AI?
Well, Gartner forecasts that agentic AI capabilities will be integrated into a significant chunk of enterprise software specifically, 33% by 2028.
33%. That's a dramatic and rapid jump from less than 1% in 2024.
It's huge growth projected in just a few years.
But the report also takes pains to note that Enterprise adoption of these agents will likely be methodical and cautious, at least initially. Why the measured approach? Why the caution?
Well, enterprises are understandably starting in lower risk, more controlled areas. Think internal business processes that are highly structured and repeatable, like helping an employee automatically reset a network password or navigating the submission and approval process for a vacation request through an HR system.
Okay, low-stakes stuff first.
Right. The report explains that for more critical tasks, anything directly customer-facing, financially significant, or involving high-stakes decisions, human review and oversight of the agent's actions are still seen as absolutely essential.
And why that continued reliance on the human in the loop for critical tasks? Why keep people involved?
Because the underlying models that power these agents, while incredibly powerful and increasingly reliable, still fundamentally work by predicting the next most likely sequence of tokens. They can, at times, still make errors or, as is famously known, hallucinate.
Ah, the hallucination problem. Making things up.
Exactly. Generating outputs that sound perfectly plausible, but are factually incorrect or logically flawed. Until that reliability is near ironclad across unpredictable, complex, or high-stakes scenarios, organizations are rightly cautious about letting autonomous agents handle everything without human validation.
That makes complete sense. The stakes are too high in critical business functions. So, stepping back, this fundamental shift from direct manipulation, clicking buttons, to delegated intent, stating a goal and letting the agent figure it out. What are the biggest implications the report points to? How does this change things beyond just automating tasks?
Well, it's going to necessitate a complete rethinking of how we design user experiences. How do you design an effective interface when the primary mode of interaction isn't a visual display of buttons and menus, but rather a conversational agent that takes instructions in natural language?
Right, the UI changes completely.
It also fundamentally changes how businesses approach process automation and even the underlying structure of software applications. The report speculates that, in the long term, this agentic shift could potentially replace many traditional software interfaces entirely.
Really? Replace GUIs?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
With a conversational, agent-driven layer sitting on top of potentially complex underlying legacy systems, orchestrating tasks across them.
So the agent becomes the new interface, the conductor of the software orchestra, rather than you having to manually play each instrument. That's not just optimization. That's a massive paradigm shift in how we interact with technology.
It really is. It moves from humans needing to learn the intricacies of every piece of software to software needing to understand human intent and figure out how to accomplish it across different systems. A huge flip.
Okay, so that's the agentic shift AI that acts. The report mentions a second key development driving the 2025 landscape, the multimodal mandate.
Yes. The second major development, topic 1.2, is all about AI's rapidly increasing ability to not just process different types of data like text, images, audio, and video, but to understand, process, and reason across them simultaneously.
Multimodal. Okay, so AI that can effectively see and hear and understand the relationships between those different inputs, like understand a picture and the text describing it together.
Exactly. And not just process them separately, but fuse them together to build a much richer, more nuanced understanding of the world or the context you're giving it. The report calls this a mandate because it makes AI interactions so much more seamless, intuitive, and crucially powerful.
More human-like.
Exactly. Better mirroring how humans perceive the world by integrating information from multiple senses. Businesses that can leverage this will have a significant advantage.
What are some concrete examples of this multimodal capability in action? Who are the key players leading here, according to the report?
Google has really positioned multimodality as a cornerstone of its Gemini platform. The report highlights Gemini 2.5 Pro as being specifically engineered for deep multimodal understanding and reasoning. It boasts an impressive capability to process vast inputs.
How vast?
Get this, up to 2 hours of video or 22 hours of audio in a single prompt.
2 hours of video or 22 hours of audio in one go.
Yep. Imagine the potential of being able to feed an entire video recording of a customer interaction, including the audio and the visual cues, and the associated support tickets and product documentation into an AI for analysis simultaneously.
That's an incredible context window, far beyond what text-only models could handle. That's huge.
It is, and it's a key differentiator for tasks requiring the synthesis of large amounts of diverse data. And Google backs this up with a suite of dedicated generative media models. VEO3 for generating video with integrated audio from text descriptions. Imagine 4 for high-fidelity image generation, and LIA2 for generating music.
So they're building specialized tools for different media types too. And OpenAI's GPT-4o. That also made a big splash recently with its real-time capabilities, right?
Yeah.
That demo was pretty impressive.
Yes, GPT-4o was launched as natively multimodal from the ground up. It's designed to engage in real-time voice conversations while simultaneously processing and responding to visual information from a camera feed.
Like that demo where it was looking through the phone camera.
Exactly. Think of pointing your phone camera at a complex diagram or a physical object and being able to have a natural language conversation with the AI about it, asking questions and getting real-time responses based on what it's seeing and hearing from you.
So these capabilities are moving very quickly out of the research labs and into products that are accessible to consumers and potentially businesses.
Yeah.
It's not just lab experiments anymore.
Absolutely. They're being rapidly integrated into consumer products like your smartphone's photo app, identifying landmarks or objects using the image itself, combined with metadata and your past search data, and, critically, into enterprise and public sectors.
Okay, enterprise and public sector uses.
Yeah, the report is a powerful example of government agencies using multimodal AI to combine high-resolution satellite imagery, say from platforms like Google Earth Engine, with textual public data sets like census data or infrastructure records.
Why would a government agency do that? What kind of problems does that unlock? What's the benefit?
Well, for things like improving urban planning by analyzing traffic flow patterns in satellite video and correlating it with population density data, or for preempting climate-related risks by analyzing how changes in land use patterns visible in satellite photos intersect with known floodplain maps and demographic data.
Ah, I see. So combining visual data from space with, like, population data on the ground.
Exactly. By fusing these disparate data types, they can gain insights that would be impossible using only one source.
That makes sense. So fusing these different data types transforms AI from what might have been a simple processor of one type of data into what the report calls a sophisticated context engine. What does that mean for businesses trying to solve problems? How does that help?
It means they can unlock entirely new categories of business problems that were previously intractable or required immense manual effort. These are problems that involve the vast amounts of unstructured, real-world data that organizations possess but often can't fully leverage.
Like all those video recordings or call transcripts just sitting there.
Exactly. The report gives a great illustrative example that really brings this to life. A text-only AI model can analyze a structured sales report, pulling out numbers and summarizing trends. That's useful for reporting, sure.
Right. Standard data analysis we've seen before. Pretty basic stuff now.
But a multimodal model, it can analyze that same structured sales report and simultaneously listen to the audio recording of the sales call where the deal was discussed and watch a video recording of the product demonstration given to the client and analyze the customer's sentiment from their facial expressions and tone of voice in that video.
Wow. So instead of just the data summary, it gets the full human interaction context around the data, the vibe of the meeting almost.
Exactly. It creates a holistic 360-degree understanding of that specific business event, the sale that was previously impossible to achieve through automation. You can understand not just what happened, but how it happened and the sentiment around it.
That's a powerful difference. So the competitive advantage in the age of multimodal AI isn't just about having the most data anymore. It's not just volume.
No, the report highlights that the basis of competitive advantage is fundamentally shifting. It's no longer simply about which company has the largest volume of data. It's increasingly about which company has the most varied types of data and, crucially, possesses the AI capability to synthesize it from multiple modes into deep, actionable intelligence.
That is a really important insight for businesses. It's about the variety and the ability to connect the dots. And it creates a powerful incentive for businesses to do what with all that unstructured data they already have lying around, like those videos and call logs.
Well, it creates a powerful incentive to digitize and connect previously siloed, unstructured data sources. Things like security camera footage, raw call center audio recordings, field maintenance photographs, video of customer focus groups, and make them accessible to these new context-aware multimodal AI systems.
So bring all that messy data into the fold.
Right. These data sets, which were previously difficult to analyze at scale, suddenly become incredibly valuable assets when you have the AI capable of processing them together to derive new insights.
Got it. Multimodality is definitely a game changer, making AI more intuitive and unlocking new analysis capabilities. That leads us to the third major development the report highlights: The sharp, undeniable focus of the AI market on enterprise-grade solutions.
Yes, topic 1.3 is about the AI market maturing beyond consumer applications and focusing strategically on meeting demanding enterprise adoption requirements, prioritizing demonstrable ROI, robust security, and guaranteed scalability.
So, moving decisively beyond the widespread consumer chatbot craze that captured headlines towards what businesses actually need to operate effectively and securely. The serious stuff.
Precisely. While consumer applications are still important, the initial phase of widespread public experimentation and novelty is giving way to a phase where technology companies are overwhelmingly focused on building platforms and models that meet the rigorous requirements of corporate customers.
What do businesses need that consumers maybe don't prioritize as much?
Well, businesses demand optimized performance, bulletproof security and privacy features, regulatory compliance, and demonstrably profitability, a clear return on investment. It has to work reliably, securely, and make financial sense.
And the report backs this up with some compelling data on accelerating business adoption and staggering investment figures.
Oh, yeah. Business adoption is accelerating significantly year over year. In 2024, 78% of organizations reported using AI in some capacity.
78%, that's high.
It's a substantial jump from 55% the previous year. And the investment figures are staggering, particularly in the U.S. private sector. U.S. private investment in AI reached $109.1 billion in 2024, with a significant $33.9 billion of that specifically directed towards generative AI companies and projects.
Wow, over $100 billion total, $34 billion just in generative AI.
That kind of money flowing into the sector absolutely dictates a sharp focus on where the real sustainable revenue is. The enterprise.
So the major tech companies are rolling out specific platforms tailored for corporations, not just general AI services, things built for business needs.
Absolutely. Microsoft's Azure AI Foundry is presented in the report as a prime example of this trend. It's described as a unified end-to-end platform built specifically for enterprises to design, customize, deploy, and manage their AI applications.
Okay.
Crucially, with built-in enterprise-grade governance, security, and compliance controls from the ground up.
That enterprise-grade aspect is clearly the key differentiator now. It's table stakes for business.
It is. Another key player, Anthropic, is explicitly targeting enterprise and government clients with its Claude models. They strategically make their models available on secure, compliant cloud platforms like AWS and Google Cloud.
Right, where businesses already are.
And the report notes they're even developing a specialized Claude Gov model specifically tailored for sensitive national security and public sector environments, highlighting their focus on high-assurance use cases.
Claude Gov, that shows a serious focus on specific, demanding sectors. It seems even companies known for open source or consumer models are making significant enterprise moves. Meta, for instance. What's their angle?
Yes, the report points to Meta's significant strategic investment, $14.3 billion in Scale AI.
Scale AI, what do they do?
Scale AI specializes in providing the high-quality data labeling, annotation, and validation solutions that are absolutely required for fine-tuning and deploying AI models reliably at enterprise scale.
The data quality piece. Crucial for business use.
Exactly. This investment signals Meta's intent to support and participate in the lucrative enterprise AI market, not just the consumer or open source space.
So the report suggests the much-hyped AI arms race isn't just about who has the best chatbot, but is actually happening on two distinct fronts. There's more going on behind the scenes.
Exactly. There's the highly visible, often consumer-facing race for mindshare and feature parity. The public launches of new chatbot versions or mobile apps like ChatGPT or the Gemini app that capture media attention.
Right, the stuff everyone talks about.
But the report emphasizes there's a second, less visible to the general public, but far more lucrative race, establishing dominance in providing the fundamental enterprise AI infrastructure and platforms, the plumbing, basically.
Where are the major announcements coming from now that signal this shift? What should we be watching for?
They're not primarily about who's released a slightly better chatbot this week. The report notes that major announcements from the big players are increasingly about enterprise-grade platforms like Azure AI Foundry, strategic alliances targeting specific business verticals like Anthropic partnering with AWS and Palantir for defense applications.
Okay, specialized partnerships.
And the rollout of business-critical features like enhanced data security, advanced model fine-tuning capabilities for proprietary data, and comprehensive governance tools. It's all about business readiness.
This sounds like the underlying business model for AI companies is rapidly evolving too. It's not just subscriptions.
It absolutely is. The primary business model is evolving away from direct-to-consumer subscriptions or ad-supported free tiers towards securing high-value, sticky, recurring enterprise contracts. Selling an AI platform and integrated services to a large corporation is fundamentally different and, frankly, much more lucrative than selling subscriptions to millions of individuals.
So who does the report suggest are the long-term winners in this evolving market, given this enterprise focus? Is it the chatbot makers?
The report suggests that the long-term winners may not necessarily be the companies with the most famous or flashiest consumer chatbot, but rather those who successfully build and control the indispensable operating system or core infrastructure for enterprise AI.
The platform players. And based on the players we've discussed, who does the report frame as being in that position? Who's building that OS?
Well, that's clearly the core strategy of Microsoft, with its Azure and Copilot ecosystem becoming the AI layer across its existing enterprise footprint.
Leveraging their existing dominance.
Exactly. And Google, with its Vertex AI platform, this intense focus on building that underlying sticky enterprise platform is what explains the intense high-stakes war for elite AI talent mentioned in the report.
Ah, yes, the talent war.
With companies like Meta reportedly offering multi-million-dollar compensation packages to recruit the top researchers capable of building these complex enterprise systems and infrastructure.
Multi-million-dollar packages just for researchers. That underscores how much value is being placed on building that core enterprise AI infrastructure. It's not just about the model, it's the whole system.
It really does. The talent pool capable of developing truly frontier models and robust enterprise platforms is scarce, and the potential rewards in securing dominance in the enterprise market are immense, justifying that kind of investment in human capital.
Okay, so that's the sharpened enterprise focus.
Yeah.
Finally, the fourth development driving this fundamental shift is the crucial role of the hardware backbone, the chips.
Yes. The fourth point the report focuses on is how the rapid AI software advances we're seeing are inextricably linked to and enabled by parallel revolutions happening in hardware, the specialized silicon that powers it all.
Why does the hardware matter so much?
Yeah.
Isn't it all about the algorithms and the data? Can't you run it on any computer?
Well, while algorithms and data are essential, the sophisticated capabilities of modern AI, things like processing those massive multimodal data sets we just talked about, or enabling complex agentic reasoning, require a simply staggering amount of computational power.
Right. These things need huge amounts of processing.
This creates an insatiable demand for highly specialized semiconductors, particularly GPUs, graphics processing units, and increasingly custom accelerators, as well as the data center infrastructure to house and power them.
So it's moving beyond standard computer chips we're familiar with. We need special AI chips.
Yes. While high-performance GPUs are still fundamental, the report highlights a significant and growing trend towards custom hardware and application-specific integrated circuits, or ASICs.
Design.
Specifically for AI workloads. These custom chips can offer much higher efficiency and performance for the narrow range of tasks they are designed for compared to more general-purpose processors. They're optimized just for AI.
Who are some of the key players in this specialized silicon race, according to the report? Who's making these custom chips?
AMD is highlighted as a key player. They've been heavily investing and have recently unveiled their next-generation Instinct MI350 and MI400 series accelerators.
Instinct accelerators.
Which are specifically designed and optimized for the demands of generative AI workloads. And they've announced deep partnerships to get this powerful hardware deployed in major cloud data centers, like Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, and to power models from major AI companies like OpenAI and Meta.
So AMD is supplying chips to the big cloud providers and AI labs. And Google is also developing its own specialized hardware, right? They make their own.
They are. Google has been pursuing a strategy of developing its own vertically integrated stack with its AI hypercomputer built around its proprietary tensor processing units, or TPUs.
Okay.
The report notes that their latest generation TPUs, codename Ironwood, are specifically designed and optimized to accelerate the training and serving of their own massive Gemini models. This allows them to potentially gain performance and efficiency advantages tailored to their specific AI architecture.
So they're building the chips specifically optimized for their AI. It's all integrated. This intense competition and development in specialized hardware sounds like it also has significant geopolitical dimensions. It's not just tech companies competing.
Oh, it absolutely does. The report mentions the ongoing geopolitical tensions and trade restrictions, particularly the U.S. export controls on advanced semiconductor technology to certain countries.
Right, the chip export controls.
These controls directly impact the revenue projections, manufacturing strategies, and strategic planning of major chip companies globally. It's a very high-stakes game with national security and economic implications.
And the report describes this relationship between AI software and hardware as a feedback loop. They drive each other.
Yes, it's a clear and powerful co-evolutionary feedback loop. Advances in AI software, such as the development of larger, more complex models with trillions of parameters, create an insatiable demand for more powerful and efficient hardware to train and run them.
More complex models need better chips.
Exactly. In turn, breakthroughs in hardware design and manufacturing, like new GPU or ASIC architectures, unlock new possibilities for what AI software can achieve, enabling the development of even more capable models or applications. They constantly push each other forward.
And this interplay between custom hardware and specific software frameworks creates a powerful lock-in effect for the cloud providers that build these integrated stacks. If you use their cloud, you're kind of stuck with their hardware.
That's a critical strategic point the report makes. Choosing a cloud platform like Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure is increasingly a commitment not just to their data storage or compute services, but to an entire vertically integrated AI stack.
It's the whole package.
It extends from the custom silicon and data center architecture they've invested in, all the way up to the proprietary software frameworks and libraries like Google's Vertex AI or AMD's ROCm platform on Azure that are specifically optimized to run efficiently on that particular hardware.
So switching cloud providers later becomes exponentially more difficult and costly. It's not easy to just move your AI stuff.
Precisely. The report explains that it's no longer just migrating data in virtual machines. You might potentially have to significantly re-architect and re-optimize your entire AI models and applications for a fundamentally different hardware environment and software stack.
That sounds like a nightmare.
It creates substantial switching costs for enterprises, deepens the competitive moat for the incumbent cloud giants who have invested heavily in this infrastructure, and solidifies their central, indispensable role in this AI revolution.
So the silicon isn't just a support player behind the scenes. It's fundamentally shaping the competitive landscape, the market dynamics, and the strategic choices for companies adopting AI. The chips really matter.
It's the engine powering the entire transformation, and controlling that engine provides significant strategic leverage. It's foundational.
Okay, that gives us a really solid understanding of the big picture shifts happening right now in AI. The move to agentic capabilities, the importance of multimodality, the sharp enterprise focus, and the crucial role of specialized hardware. Now, let's transition from that broad landscape view to a more focused comparison of the leading AI models themselves.
Right. Let's get into the models.
The report makes it clear that the market is a multi-model reality, not dominated by a single entity. And understanding the nuances of these models is a critical strategic decision for any organization.
That's the absolute key takeaway for this next section. You can't just pick an AI. Organizations need to understand that different models have distinct strengths, weaknesses, and ideal use cases. There isn't one model that does everything best for every task. It's about matching the tool to the job.
And the report focuses on OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic as the key developers of these frontier models, with Microsoft playing a unique role as the platform orchestrator that often makes these models available. Let's use the comparison data and descriptions the report provides to dive into each of these players and their model families.
Sounds good. Comparing them side by side based on the report's analysis really helps translate the technical specifications into practical business guidance for deciding which tool to use for which job. It makes it more concrete.
Okay, let's start with OpenAI's ecosystem, encompassing models like GPT-4o, GPT-4.1, and the broader O series. How does the report position OpenAI in the current landscape? Where do they fit in?
The report describes OpenAI as the incumbent innovator and characterizes their position as offering a versatile, all-rounder, and mature ecosystem.
Incumbent innovator. Okay.
They benefit significantly from being the first player to achieve widespread public awareness, giving them a crucial first-mover advantage. They've cultivated a very large and active developer community and have widespread API access, particularly amplified through their deep strategic partnership with Microsoft Azure.
Right, the Microsoft connection is huge.
Which provides a ready channel to the enterprise market. This combination often makes their GPT series the default choice for a wide range of general-purpose tasks, like creative content generation, brainstorming, summarization, or powering customer-facing applications where versatility is key. They're kind of the go-to for many things.
What about their specific model capabilities and flagship offerings discussed in the report? What makes GPT-4o stand out?
Well, GPT-4o is positioned as their flagship model, a highly advanced system designed to be natively multimodal from the ground up, capable of seamless, real-time interaction across text, audio, and vision, like we talked about with that camera demo.
Right, the real-time interaction.
The report also mentions their broader model family, including GPT 4.1 for general tasks, and smaller, more specialized models like O3 Mini, which is noted for being particularly tailored for strong performance in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics reasoning tasks.
So a smaller one for math and science problems. Interesting.
Yeah. The report also highlights OpenAI's strong, consistent performance in coding benchmarks, mentioning that GPT-4 passed all 4 of the ZDNet coding challenges and provided a clean, efficient, dynamic programming solution in a specific comparison test. So still very capable at code.
And the report even touches on their hardware ambitions, like the mentioned I/O project with Jony Ive. They're looking beyond software.
Yes, the report briefly mentions their collaboration on the I/O hardware project with former Apple designer Jony Ive, signaling ambitions beyond just software and models, potentially exploring new form factors or devices leveraging their AI, though details are scarce.
Interesting. The report includes some direct comparison data points on these models, like context window size and API pricing. How does OpenAI stack up according to that data?
Okay, the report table lists GPT 4.140 with a 1 million token context window.
1 million tokens, that's pretty big.
It is. It allows it to handle substantial documents or conversations. On API pricing, the report lists typical input price around $5 per 1 million tokens and output around $20 per 1 million tokens.
So $5 and $20 out. How does that compare?
This positions it as offering a competitive, generally large context size compared to some models, but potentially higher on output price than, say, Google's optimized Flash model. Kind of middle ground on context, maybe a bit higher on price for the output.
Okay, so OpenAI, versatile, mature ecosystem, strong general performance, and a capable multimodal flagship in GPT-4o. Now let's look at Google's Gemini platform, specifically Gemini 2.5 Pro and the more efficient Gemini 2.5 Flash. How are they positioned?
Google is positioned as the multimodal powerhouse in the report and highlighted as the leader for massive context and native multimodality.
Multimodal powerhouse.
Yeah.
Massive context. Okay.
They leverage Google's deep, long-standing research capabilities in AI and benefit from the potential for deep integration into Google's vast product universe, search, workspace, cloud platform, Android, etc.
So why is Gemini presented as the natural choice for organizations that are already heavy users of the Google ecosystem? Why is it good for Google Shops?
Because it's being designed to be deeply woven into those existing platforms. If your organization lives and breathes Google Workspace or Google Cloud, integrating Gemini capabilities into your workflows, applications, and data infrastructure is often the most seamless and performant path, leveraging existing investments in infrastructure. It just fits better, potentially.
And what about Gemini's standout technical capabilities? The report referenced Google calling Gemini 2.5 Pro their most intelligent model ever. What backs that up?
Yes, Google promotes Gemini 2.5 Pro with claims of state-of-the-art performance, particularly emphasizing its strengths in complex reasoning and multimodal tasks. But the absolute standout feature the report consistently highlights as a key differentiator is its enormous 2 million token context window.
2 million tokens. That's double OpenAI's listed capacity.
It is. That capacity allows it to process and analyze genuinely massive amounts of information, the equivalent of entire books, gigantic code bases, or, as we discussed, hours of video or audio, all within a single prompt and conversation.
2 million tokens. That allows for processing truly huge inputs for analysis tasks. You could feed it a whole novel.
It really is a defining feature for use cases that involve digesting vast quantities of information. And Google also offers Gemini 2.5 Flash.
Flash, what's that?
Which the report describes as a highly efficient, speed-optimized model specifically designed for high-volume, low-latency tasks where speed and cost are paramount, even if it sacrifices a bit of the Pro model's depth or reasoning.
So a faster, cheaper version for simpler tasks.
Exactly. Plus, they have that dedicated suite of generative media models we mentioned earlier. Imagine 4 for images, VEO3 for video plus audio, and LIA2 for music generation. A whole creative suite.
Looking at the comparison data the report provides again, how does Gemini score on coding benchmarks compared to OpenAI, and how does this pricing stack up?
Okay, the report lists Gemini 2.5 Pro with a SWE bench coding score of 63.8%.
SW bench. Remind me what that measures again.
SW bench, for clarity, is a benchmark specifically designed to test an AI's ability to fix real-world software bugs extracted from actual GitHub repositories. So it tests practical coding fixes.
Okay, so a higher score means it's better at fixing bugs.
Pretty much, yeah. A higher score indicates a better ability to act as an automated software engineer. Gemini's 63.8% is quite strong, significantly higher than OpenAI's listed 54.6% for GPT 4.140 in the comparison.
Better than OpenAI on that specific test.
Although not the highest overall, as we'll see. Its 2 million token context window remains its primary technical differentiator. On API pricing, the report lists input price for Gemini 2.5 Pro at $1.25, $2.50 per 1 million tokens, and output at $5.10 per $1 million tokens. Gemini 2.5 Flash is even cheaper.
Wow, that's quite a bit cheaper than the OpenAI figures, especially for input.
Yes, this positions Gemini as very competitive on price, particularly for high-volume tasks or those leveraging that massive context window, making it attractive from a cost perspective for certain applications.
And based on those capabilities, huge context, strong multimodality, good price. What are the report's recommended use cases for Gemini?
The report points to use cases directly leveraging its strengths. Large-scale document analysis, extracting insights from massive multimedia content collections, and research synthesis across vast data sets, things that need a lot of input capacity.
Okay, that brings us to Anthropic's Claude family models like Claude 3.5 and the leading Claude 4. They seem to have rapidly carved out a specific and powerful niche in the market. How are they described?
They are positioned as the enterprise challenger in the report, specifically specializing in advanced reasoning and coding agent capabilities.
Enterprise challenger, advanced reasoning and coding.
Okay. Anthropic has risen rapidly by sharply focusing on the needs of enterprise and government clients, prioritizing safety, reliability, and exceptional performance on complex, demanding tasks.
Safety and reliability seem to be big themes for them.
Absolutely. The report explains why Claude is often preferred for software engineering workflows and in complex, highly domain-specific areas like legal research, finance, and regulatory compliance, highlighting its particular appeal in regulated industries due to its constitutional AI safety approach.
Constitutional AI. That sounds like it's about building ethical guidelines and safety protocols into the core training process. How does that work?
It is. It's Anthropic's methodology for training models to be helpful, harmless, and honest by aligning them with a set of principles, like a constitution. This rigorous approach to safety and reliability is a critical factor for risk-averse enterprise and government clients. They trust it more, perhaps.
What are Claude's standout technical capabilities discussed in the report? What makes it good at reasoning and coding?
The report highlights Claude 4's industry-leading dominance in software engineering benchmarks. It achieved a remarkable 72.7% on the SWE benchmark we mentioned earlier.
72.7%. Wow, that's significantly higher than both OpenAI's GPT 4.140, 54.6%, and Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro, 63.8% in the comparison. That's a big lead.
It really is. That score is a critical differentiator for organizations prioritizing automated coding or software development assistance.
What enables that higher performance in coding and reasoning? Is it just better training data?
The report mentions Anthropic's novel architectural concepts, such as an extended thinking mode.
Extended thinking mode?
Yeah, it essentially gives the model more internal computation time to perform deep reasoning and complex problem-solving steps before generating a final answer. It lets the model think harder, so to speak.
Ah, okay. More processing time for tough problems.
They also possess powerful built-in agentic capabilities tailored for development workflows, like the ability to use multiple tools in parallel within a single turn, a files API for persistent memory across interactions, and a dedicated code execution tool for testing its own code. The report specifically notes Claude's proven superiority in generating functional UI code.
User interface code.
In direct comparisons compared to other models. So very strong on the practical coding side.
So if an organization's primary need is advanced coding assistance, deep, complex reasoning in specific domains, or requires a strong emphasis on safety and reliability for regulated environments, Claude is presented as the leading specialist. What about its context window and price? Is it as big as Gemini's?
The report lists Claude 4 with a 200K token context window.
200K, that's quite a bit smaller than Google's 2M or even OpenAI's 1M.
It is smaller, but the report implies that Anthropic's architecture focuses on depth of reasoning within that window, optimized for complex problem solving, rather than simply processing the largest possible input size. Quality over quantity, perhaps.
Okay, focus on depth. What about the price? Is it premium?
On API pricing, it uses a different structure, listing Opus, their most capable model, input at $15 per 1 million tokens and output at $75 for 1 million tokens.
$75 for output. That's
Yeah.
steep compared to the others.
It is. Sonnet, a faster, less expensive model, is listed at $3 input and $15 output. This positions Claude Opus as the most expensive of the models compared, but, as the report implies, potentially offering the highest performance for the most complex and demanding tasks, justifying the premium for specific use cases where top-tier reasoning is critical. You pay for the best reasoning, basically.
And the report's recommended use cases for Claude align with that.
Yes, exactly. Software development, complex problem solving in specialized domains, and applications in regulated industries, aligning perfectly with its strengths in coding, reasoning, and safety mechanisms.
Finally, let's look at Microsoft's strategy, which involves leveraging Azure AI and its Copilot ecosystem. The report calls Microsoft the platform orchestrator. What does that mean?
This is Microsoft's unique and powerful play in the market. As the report states, their strategy isn't necessarily about having one proprietary model that outperforms everyone else on every benchmark.
They're not trying to build the single best model themselves.
Not exclusively. Instead, their strategy is to be the indispensable platform and orchestrator for the entire AI ecosystem. Their goal is to become, in the report's words, the AI operating system for the enterprise, leveraging their massive existing footprint in cloud computing, Azure, and workplace productivity software, Microsoft 365.
So their value proposition is hosting everyone else's best models and making them available to their enterprise customers, like an app store for AI models.
Exactly. That's a good way to think about it. The Azure AI Foundry is the centerpiece of this strategy. It's designed as a unified environment that hosts a vast catalog of leading models, not just OpenAI's through their partnership, but also models from Meta, like Llama, Anthropic, Claude, and even xAI, Grok, among others.
So businesses using Azure can pick and choose from all these top models in one place.
Yes. Enterprises get a single, secure, compliant environment within their existing Azure infrastructure to access, deploy, and manage a wide variety of leading AI models, picking the best tool for a given task, all under the Microsoft umbrella.
And they're also infusing agentic intelligence and AI capabilities deeply into their own core products, like Windows and Office.
Yes, the report highlights this infusion across their portfolio. We already mentioned the transformation of GitHub Copilot into a more autonomous agentic developer assistant. They're also integrating AI deeply into the Windows operating system itself with native support for concepts like the Model Context Protocol, MCP, designed to help different AI models and applications work together seamlessly. And crucially, they are integrating advanced AI into Microsoft 365 with tools like Copilot tuning, which allows businesses to customize the behavior of Copilot agents using their own proprietary internal data, making it more relevant and powerful for specific company workflows, tailoring Copilot for your specific business.
What's the ultimate value proposition for Microsoft with this strategy? How do they capture value in this multi-model world if they're not always providing the core model?
As the report frames it, Microsoft provides the essential underlying infrastructure, the cloud compute, the development tools, the critical security features, and the comprehensive governance layer that enterprises require. By hosting and orchestrating access to multiple leading models within the secure environment, they capture value regardless of which specific model happens to perform best on a given task or benchmark.
They make money on the platform no matter which model you choose.
Pretty much. It's a powerful strategy that leverages their existing dominance in the enterprise software and cloud world to become the indispensable layer for AI adoption.
That makes a lot of sense. They become the utility provider and the integration layer for all these specialized AI capabilities.
Yeah.
The operating system analogy seems apt.
Precisely. They are building the pipes and the control systems that allow enterprises to safely and effectively use the best available AI models, whoever built them.
So the concluding thought for this section of the report, and for us here, is that the multi-model reality is firmly established, and organizations have to be strategic about navigating it. You can't just pick one.
Yes. You absolutely cannot take a one-size-fits-all approach. You need to understand the distinct strengths and weaknesses of each major model family. Claude for coding and complex reasoning, Gemini for massive context and multimodality, GPT for general versatility and ecosystem access. The report suggests that successful organizations won't just pick one.
Right.
They will increasingly leverage overarching platforms like Microsoft Azure AI Foundry or Google's Vertex AI, which allow them to access and manage multiple models securely. The report even mentions sophisticated tools like model routers.
All routers, what do they do?
That can automatically select the best model for a specific job based on criteria like cost, performance, or suitability for the task, like traffic control for AI requests.
So a sophisticated platform-based approach is required. You can't just pick one model and expect it to be the perfect solution for every single problem in your organization. You need a strategy.
Exactly. It's about building a portfolio of AI capabilities and knowing how to deploy the right one for the right job, managed centrally and securely.
Okay, having looked at the underlying technology shifts, understood who the key players are and the nuances of their leading models, let's move to part 3 of our deep dive. AI in action. How is all this next generation AI actually transforming the enterprise right now?
Yeah, the practical stuff.
The report provides specific examples and quantifies the impact, moving AI from just being a peripheral experiment to creating tangible value at the core of business functions.
This section is where the rubber meets the road. It's about translating those capabilities we just discussed, agentic behavior, multimodality, specialized models, into practical applications across different departments, and showing how they are already generating real ROI, return on investment.
Real results.
The report uses a use case matrix, providing specific examples and, where possible, quantifiable impacts observed in early enterprise deployments. It's essentially a menu of opportunities for organizations looking to leverage AI, showing what's possible now.
Let's start with the impact on accelerating R&D and innovation. How is AI fundamentally reshaping research and development processes? Is it just faster calculations?
It's much more than that. The report states that AI is fundamentally reshaping R&D, compressing timelines that once spanned years of painstaking laboratory work into weeks, days, or even hours. It's not just optimizing the edges, it's transforming the scientific method itself.
Transforming the scientific method, how?
Moving from slow, manual experimentation to rapid AI-driven hypothesis generation, large-scale simulation, and accelerated discovery. It changes how science gets done.
Give us some specific examples. The report highlights where this is already happening. Where is it making the biggest difference?
Well, a primary beneficiary is drug discovery and development. AI is becoming instrumental in de novo drug design, generating entirely novel molecular structures that are optimized for specific biological targets.
Designing new drugs from scratch.
Exactly, which is much more efficient than just tweaking existing compounds. It helps significantly in lead optimization, predicting complex drug target interactions, and identifying biomarkers that can enable more personalized therapies. The report notes that AI dramatically reduces the time and cost associated with the expensive, high failure rate, early stages of drug discovery.
Speeding up that really difficult initial phase. And they mentioned Google DeepMind's AlphaFold. That made headlines.
Yes, Google DeepMind's AlphaFold 3 is highlighted as a landmark example in fundamental research. It can predict the structure and interactions of virtually all of life's molecules, including proteins, DNA, RNA, and ligands, with unprecedented accuracy.
Predicting how biological molecules fit together.
That's an incredibly powerful tool for researchers across biology and medicine, accelerating our understanding of fundamental life processes and disease mechanisms. It's a huge leap.
What about in material science? Are we seeing similar impacts in finding new materials?
The impact in materials science is equally profound, perhaps even more so in terms of sheer scale of discovery. AI can design new chemical structures with desired properties and predict their stability and characteristics far faster than traditional laboratory synthesis and testing.
Faster than actually making them in a lab.
Much faster. The report gives a stunning example from Google, their Genome tool. That stands for Graph Networks for Materials Exploration.
Genome, yeah. Okay. What did it find?
Using AI, Genome identified 380,000 new stable crystal structures.
380,000 new stable crystal structures. That sounds like a massive, almost unbelievable number. Are you sure?
That's the number in the report, and it highlights just how massive it is by comparing it. This single AI tool discovered roughly 380,000 new stable inorganic crystal structures, which compares to only about 20,000 such structures that have been discovered in all of prior human history combined.
That is incredible. More new fundamental building blocks of matter discovered by one AI tool than in all recorded history combined. That really puts the acceleration into perspective. Mind-blowing.
It absolutely demonstrates the sheer scale of acceleration AI brings to fields like materials science, potentially accelerating the search for new materials needed for things like more efficient solar panels, advanced battery technology, or next-generation semiconductors. Huge implications.
And how about in general scientific research across disciplines? Is it helping everywhere?
Well, AI is proving to be a powerful accelerant across a wide range of research fields. It can analyze vast, complex data sets that would be impossible for humans to sift through, propose novel hypotheses researchers might not have considered, help design more efficient experiments, and process the resulting data incredibly fast.
So a general research booster.
Yeah. The report notes the adoption of advanced AI in high-stakes research environments like the Air Force Research Laboratory, which is leveraging Google Cloud AI for projects spanning materials, science, bioinformatics, and even human performance optimization challenges.
So AI is fundamentally changing not just what we research, but how discovery happens. Okay, next up, redefining customer engagement. How is AI making customer interactions hyper-personalized, faster, and more efficient for businesses? This seems like a big area.
Oh, definitely. Across marketing, sales, and customer service, AI is enabling interactions at a scale, depth, and level of personalization previously unimaginable. AI-powered chatbots and virtual assistants are now becoming commonplace in customer service operations, but their capabilities are rapidly advancing.
Like the bots you interact with when you visit a company's website looking for support? They seem better lately.
Yes, but they are becoming much more sophisticated than the simple rule-based bots of the past. Leveraging the kinds of advanced reasoning and natural language processing we discussed, they can handle 247 customer assistants and autonomously manage a significant percentage.
How much can they handle?
Often reported between 70–75% of all routine customer inquiries without needing a human agent.
70 to 75%. Wow.
The report quantifies the business impact. Companies deploying these effectively can see up to a 35% reduction in operational costs associated with customer service.
That's a significant cost saving.
Yeah.
And are they actually improving the customer experience or just cutting costs? Is it better for us?
The report suggests they're improving experience too by reducing friction and wait times. They use advanced NLP and increasingly sentiment analysis to understand customer intent and emotional state.
They can tell us you're upset.
Potentially, yes. And they can intelligently route more complex or sensitive issues to human agents when needed. The report cites examples of specific improvements, like a 90% improvement in response times for customer queries and cutting average customer wait times down to a mere 33 seconds.
33 seconds wait time. That's pretty good. Faster responses and lower costs, clear and tangible benefits for businesses. What about in marketing? How's AI changing ads and campaigns?
Hyper-personalized marketing is being redefined by the advent of multimodal AI. By analyzing vast amounts of unstructured data from social media, not just text comments, but also images, video content, and even audio snippets.
Using all that social media data.
Brands can gain incredibly deep consumer understanding, spot emerging trends faster than competitors, and analyze sentiment with greater nuance. This rich insight then directly powers generative AI tools to create highly personalized ad copy, tailored visual creative assets, and even interactive branded experiences like personalized quizzes or games.
So the AI understands the audience on a deeper, more sensory level by looking at images and video, and then automatically creates tailored content for them at scale. Ads just for me.
Exactly. Leveraging that multimodal data provides a far richer, more accurate picture of consumer preferences and behavior than was possible with text-only analysis, allowing for truly targeted and relevant marketing campaigns.
And how are AI agents being used in sales, helping salespeople close deals?
AI agents are quickly becoming valuable assistants for sales teams. They can automate significant amounts of time-consuming research, automatically compiling comprehensive prospect or customer information before a call.
Do the prep work.
Exactly. They can provide sales representatives with real-time, up-to-the-minute product availability and pricing data during client interactions. And agentic capabilities extend to automating many administrative tasks that bog down sales teams, like drafting initial outreach emails, generating quotes, or even drafting segments of job postings or offer letters for sales hires.
Automating the busy work for sales teams, freeing them up to focus on actually selling and building relationships. What about optimizing core business operations functions like finance, HR, and supply chain? the back office stuff.
This is another area where AI is driving significant, measurable efficiency gains and reducing error risk by streamlining core back-office processes. In finance and accounting, many repetitive tasks are prime for AI automation.
Like invoices.
Yeah, AI can dramatically accelerate invoice processing by automatically reading, understanding, and extracting key information from various invoice formats, eliminating manual data entry and reducing errors. They can detect anomalies in transactions for enhanced fraud detection or error identification, and provide more accurate and dynamic financial forecasting by analyzing vast data sets and identifying complex trends.
So AI is helping finance teams move from manual data entry and reconciliation to more strategic analysis and forecasting. Less grunt work.
Precisely, freeing them up for higher value work. In human resources, AI agents are streamlining various stages of the employee lifecycle. They assist in recruitment, automatically writing job descriptions based on role requirements, screening resumes, and scheduling interviews.
Automating parts of hiring.
They help with employee onboarding, guiding new hires through paperwork, setting up necessary accounts. They can serve as a 247 resource for employees with common questions about benefits, policies, or company procedures. The report even mentions advanced systems using data analysis to identify employees who might be at risk of leaving the company.
Predicting who might quit.
Allowing HR to proactively address retention issues.
That's a powerful use case for proactive talent management. And what about in the physical world? Supply chain and manufacturing. How does AI help there?
There's major impact here, often leveraging the combination of AI and IoT, the Internet of Things sensors.
AI plus sensors, okay.
AI enables sophisticated predictive maintenance. Systems are being deployed that use AI to monitor industrial machinery in real time via sensors, analyze vibration, temperature, or acoustic data, detect subtle anomalies, and predict equipment failures before they actually occur.
Predicting when a machine will break down.
Exactly. The report mentions companies like Traction as an example in this space, preventing costly, unplanned downtime in manufacturing facilities.
Preventing problems before they happen, which is incredibly valuable in operations. Huge cost savings there.
Yes. In logistics and supply chain, AI optimizes complex delivery routes based on real-time factors like traffic conditions, weather patterns, and even delivery vehicle capacity, reducing costs, delivery times, and carbon emissions.
Smarter delivery routes.
And the report also includes specific case studies from the insurance sector. One insurer used a large language model, LLM, to automate vehicle part identification in claims photos, significantly enhancing claims processing capacity. Another insurer, leveraging intelligent automation driven by AI, was able to adjudicate certain types of claims 75% faster.
75% faster claims processing.
Yeah.
That's a massive quantifiable gain in efficiency and customer satisfaction for insurance.
These are just examples, of course, across a few functions, but the report makes it clear that AI's practical impact is spreading rapidly and deeply across virtually every function and department within the enterprise, creating concrete opportunities for tangible ROI and operational improvement. It's moving decisively out of pilot programs and into core business processes.
Right, these aren't just hypothetical future use cases. They're being implemented and driving results now. So we've seen what this next-gen AI is, who the key players and models are, and how it's actively being used to transform businesses. Now let's shift gears to the strategic playbook. How should organizations and individuals actually approach adopting this powerful technology successfully and responsibly? The report introduces a crucial dual-pronged strategy.
Yes. The report emphasizes that achieving successful, sustainable AI transformation within an organization isn't just about buying the latest technology. It requires a deliberate, dual-pronged approach.
Dual-pronged, what does that mean?
It combines a robust, top-down framework led by executive leadership with the bottom-up empowerment and engagement of the workforce. You absolutely need both working in concert. Leadership sets the direction, employees make it happen.
Okay, let's break that down, starting with the corporate strategy, the framework for leadership. What's the first step for leaders? Where do they begin?
The first and perhaps most critical step, according to the report, is for leaders to develop a clear, coherent AI vision for their organization. They must define a clear purpose for AI adoption.
A purpose, not just use AI.
Right. What specific business problems are they trying to solve? How does AI align with and support the company's overall strategic goals and core values? This vision isn't just for the executive suite. It must be clearly and consistently communicated across the entire organization. Leaders need to explain how AI is intended to support employees, improve business outcomes, and crucially set realistic expectations about what AI can and cannot do and how it will impact different roles.
And this isn't something that can just be delegated to the IT department, right? Everyone needs to be involved.
Absolutely not. The report strongly stresses the need for inclusivity in developing and implementing this vision and subsequent policies. You must involve stakeholders from different departments, operations, finance, HR, legal, marketing to ensure that policies and tools are practical, address the diverse needs and concerns of different teams, and foster a sense of shared ownership over the AI transformation process. Get buy-in from everyone.
Next, the report emphasizes governance and policy, the guardrails for innovation. This sounds absolutely critical, especially given the risks we discussed earlier, like data leaks.
It is arguably the most essential foundation for safe and effective AI adoption. A formal, written set of AI usage guidelines and policies is non-negotiable. It provides the necessary framework for mitigating risks, ensuring compliance, and building employee confidence to use the tools safely and effectively.
What are the absolute must-haves in that governance policy, according to the report? What rules have to be in there?
The report is very clear on the core tenets, particularly around data security and privacy. The fundamental requirement is mandating the exclusive use of company-authorized AI services and platforms only.
Only use the approved tool.
Right. The policy must explicitly and strictly prohibit employees from using public or free-tier consumer AI platforms for any work-related tasks whatsoever.
No ChatGPT free tier for work stuff, period.
Period. And it must explicitly forbid the input of any sensitive, confidential, or personally identifiable information, PII, such as company financials, client data, employee records, or trade secrets into unsanctioned public AI tools.
That's a hard but necessary line. Given the data leakage risks with public models, it makes perfect sense that this needs to be a core policy. You just can't risk it.
It's absolutely non-negotiable for maintaining enterprise security, ensuring regulatory compliance like GDPR, IPI, CCPA, and protecting the legal status of trade secrets. Beyond security, the policy must also include a clear ethical framework, explicitly addressing considerations around bias, fairness, transparency, and accountability in AI systems.
Ethics have to be built in.
Yes, this involves defining clear roles and responsibilities within the organization for the oversight, maintenance, auditing, and ultimately who is responsible for the outcomes and impacts of AI systems deployed.
So everyone knows their role and accountability layer when AI is integrated into workflows. No confusion about who's responsible. The third strategic point for leaders is choosing the right tools, emphasizing a multimodal approach.
Reiterate again, and this is a key point from part 2. The 2025 market does not have a single best AI model that is perfect for every task. Organizations aiming for successful AI integration must adopt a sophisticated multi-model strategy.
Which means matching the specific strengths of different models to the specific requirements of different tasks, as we discussed, using Claude for coding, Gemini for huge documents, etc.
Exactly. As the report outlines, leveraging a model like Claude 4 for complex coding challenges or deep reasoning in specialized domains, using Gemini 2.5 Pro for tasks requiring analysis of massive context windows or complex multimodal data, and relying on GPT 4.140 for general versatility, creative tasks, or tapping into its mature ecosystem and broad API access, use the right tool for the job.
How do organizations manage this potentially complex portfolio of different models? Sounds complicated to juggle them all.
The report strongly recommends using overarching AI platforms like Microsoft Azure AI Foundry or Google Vertex AI. These platforms provide a unified, secure environment to access, deploy, manage, and govern multiple models from different providers side by side.
A central hub for all the AI tools.
Right. The report even mentions emerging technologies like model routers, which can automatically select the most appropriate or cost-effective model for a specific user query based on criteria like the nature of the task, performance requirements, or cost profiles.
That sounds like a smart way to optimize resource usage and ensure the right tool is always used without the user even needing to know. Finally, fostering an AI-ready culture and clearly measuring ROI. This sounds like the people part.
Yes, the report emphasizes that successful AI transformation is not just a technology rollout, it's a cultural and change management initiative. Leaders must actively cultivate an AI-ready culture.
How do you build that culture?
Well, this means investing significantly in comprehensive, ongoing training for employees, not just teaching them how to use the specific tools, but also reinforcing the ethical guidelines and security protocols.
Training on the how and the why not.
Exactly. It requires fostering a culture of curiosity, experimentation within safe boundaries, and critical thinking about AI outputs. Crucially, leaders must frame AI not as a replacement technology, but as a tool for augmenting human capabilities, freeing employees for more creative and strategic work.
That framing seems absolutely critical for gaining employee buy-in and overcoming potential fear or resistance. It's a helper, not a replacement.
It is foundational. And finally, leaders need to establish formal feedback loops. Regularly gather input from employees on their experiences using AI tools. What's working, what's challenging, what additional support or features are needed. This allows organizations to continuously refine policies, systems, and training programs based on real-world usage. Listen to the users.
So that's the corporate playbook. Setting a clear vision, establishing strict but enabling governance, choosing the right models for the job, and building the culture and skills to use them effectively. Now let's look at the second prong. The employee playbook, how individuals can navigate this shift for augmented productivity and professional growth. What should you, the listener, be doing?
This section is focused directly on empowering the individual employee. It's about showing them how they can leverage AI tools to work smarter, enhance their own creativity and efficiency, and free themselves up to focus on higher value, more engaging aspects of their job,
Okay.
while also clearly understanding their professional responsibilities in using these tools.
First point for employees. Mastering the tools, moving from simple prompting to production-ready output. How can AI boost daily productivity for an individual?
Well, AI can be integrated into literally hundreds of daily work tasks for significant productivity boosts. Common applications, as noted in the report, include drafting emails or other written communications, summarizing lengthy meetings or complex documents, performing data analysis in spreadsheets more efficiently, and creating presentations from outlines or raw data. The everyday stuff.
Any specific powerful use case the report highlights for individuals? Something beyond just drafting emails.
The report gives a great example of content repurposing. Using AI-powered tools, you can take a long-form piece of content, like a webinar transcript or a lengthy report, and automatically generate multiple shorter versions optimized for different platforms.
Like making social media clips from long video.
Exactly. Turning that transcript into several short social media video clips using tools like Pictory AI, for instance. That saves a ton of manual editing time and effort.
That's a huge time saver. What's the fundamental skill the report emphasizes for employees to leverage these tools effectively? What's the key thing to learn?
Effective prompting. The report emphasizes that learning how to communicate clearly, be sufficiently detailed, and be iterative in your requests to the AI is a critical skill to develop.
Getting good at asking the AI questions.
Right. If an initial prompt doesn't give you the result you need, don't give up. Refine it, add more context, provide examples, and try again. It's a new form of communication that requires practice. Think of it like learning to manage a very capable but very literal assistant.
Okay, so that's mastering how to use the tools. But the report is also very clear about the importance of avoiding the pitfalls, recognizing your professional responsibility when using AI at work. This sounds important.
This is crucial, perhaps the most important part of the employee playbook. The report is very explicit. Using AI at work comes with significant professional and ethical responsibilities. The most fundamental rule, repeated often in discussions around this topic, is verify, then trust.
Verify, then trust. Okay, why?
AI models, particularly generative ones, can and sometimes do hallucinate, producing outputs that sound perfectly plausible and convincing, but are factually incorrect or nonsensical. You must always critically review and double-check all AI-generated outputs before using them in any official capacity, whether it's a report, an email to a client, or a piece of code. Don't just copy-paste.
That's a simple rule, but absolutely vital to prevent spreading misinformation or making critical errors. Assume it might be wrong until you check it. What's the second critical rule regarding data? Protecting information.
Protect sensitive data. The report strongly reiterates the corporate policy requirement at the individual level. Never input confidential company information, sensitive customer data, personally identifiable information, PII, or proprietary trade secrets into public general-purpose AI tools.
Don't feed seekers to the free bots.
Exactly. The report explains why. These public tools often use user inputs to train their models, creating a catastrophic risk of data leakage where your company's sensitive information could be inadvertently exposed to other users, or worse, compromise the legal protection of your company's trade secrets.
So even if the free public version is convenient, it's a massive security and legal risk for any kind of work data. Just don't do it.
Exactly. It's simply not worth the risk. The report also advises that when using company-sanctioned AI tools, always ensure you are logged in with your official work account.
Use your work login for work tools.
Right. This ensures proper security protocols, data handling, and logging are in place.
What about the complexities around intellectual property and copyright when using AI for content creation? Can you just use whatever it generates?
That's still a developing and complex area legally. The report generally advises caution. Avoid inputting large amounts of copyrighted material that you don't have the rights to use into AI tools. And be transparent about your use of AI in your work, following any company or industry-specific disclosure policies. Don't present AI-generated content as solely your own human work if policies or ethics require disclosure.
Transparency is key. Be honest about using AI. Finally, the most forward-looking point for employees. Understanding the future of your work, focusing on augmentation over automation. What does this mean for jobs?
This is perhaps the most empowering message the report has for the workforce. It states unequivocally that the most valuable employees in the coming agentic age will not be those who try to compete directly with AI and risk being automated away, but rather those who learn how to effectively work with AI, leveraging its capabilities to augment their own. Learn to use the tool, don't fight it.
So what does that mean in terms of the skills employees should focus on developing? What skills become more important?
Focus on strengthening those uniquely human capabilities that complement, rather than compete with, AI. The report highlights skills like critical thinking to evaluate AI outputs, strategic oversight to guide AI agents towards meaningful goals, emotional intelligence for indispensable human interaction, creativity to generate novel ideas AI can't yet produce, and complex problem solving that requires real-world nuance and judgment.
The stuff AI can't do well.
Exactly. These are the skills AI can't replicate and that become more valuable as AI handles routine tasks.
What's a best practice workflow for an employee integrating AI into their daily tasks? How should they actually use it day to day?
The report suggests using AI as a powerful assistant at the start of a process. Use it as a first draft generator to overcome writer's block, a research assistant to quickly find information, or a brainstorming partner to generate initial ideas.
Let the AI get you started.
Right. But always apply your own domain expertise, professional judgment, and creativity to refine, validate, fact-check, and finalize the work. Don't just accept what the AI gives you. Use your unique human skills to make it better and ensure its accuracy and relevance. You're still the expert.
The human adds the final value and quality control.
And critically, know when to escalate and when human interaction is necessary. Recognize AI's limitations. For situations requiring genuine empathy, deeply nuanced judgment, sensitive interpersonal communication, or high-stakes decisions with complex human factors, direct human interaction and human decision-making are irreplaceable.
Know when not to use AI.
Exactly. The AI is a tool to augment your capabilities and free up your time, not to replace your core human value, expertise, and judgment.
That's a fantastic and empowering way to frame it. The report's concluding thought for this dual-pronged strategy section really emphasizes that success requires balancing technological potential with responsible human implementation at both the organizational leadership level and the individual employee level. It takes everyone.
Yes, it's a partnership between the technology and the people who use and guide it. Building a resilient AI-native organization requires both the technological power and the human wisdom to wield it effectively and safely.
We've covered the big shifts, the players, the applications, and the strategic playbooks for both organizations and individuals. Now, it's crucial to acknowledge that this immense transformative potential doesn't come without significant challenges and risks. Part 5 of the report, and our deep dive, is dedicated to navigating these headwinds. The downsides.
Proactively addressing these challenges is absolutely essential for sustainable, safe, and responsible AI adoption. Ignoring them risks significant harm to individuals, organizations, and society. You can't just focus on the benefits.
So true. The report lays out the most significant headwinds and provides specific mitigation strategies for each. Let's start with what the report calls the data privacy and security minefield. How does the increased integration of AI create new risks in these areas?
Well, AI's deep integration with vast data sets and its increasing connectivity to internal and external systems fundamentally opens up new vulnerabilities. The most immediate and widespread risk the report highlights is the risk of sensitive data leakage.
Data leakage. We touched on this.
This often occurs, as we discussed earlier, through employees using public AI tools for work tasks. The report cites research indicating that a significant percentage of prompts submitted to public models by employees contains sensitive company data, and that leaks have occurred because these free-tier services often use user inputs for model training.
And once sensitive data is inputted into a public LLM, it's essentially out of your control, potentially becoming part of the training data or accessible elsewhere. It's gone.
Exactly. The report notes this risks severe regulatory consequences, hefty fines, and legal action under regulations like GDPR in Europe, PIA for health data, or CCPA in California. Crucially, it can also lead to the immediate loss of legal protection for your company's trade secrets, as that information is no longer considered confidential. Poof, gone.
That's alarming. And AI systems themselves can also become direct targets for malicious actors or be used to craft more sophisticated attacks, hackers using AI.
Yes, AI systems themselves represent a new attack surface for cybersecurity threats. They can be compromised or manipulated. Furthermore, malicious actors are increasingly using AI to craft sophisticated attacks.
Like what kind of attacks?
The report mentions incidents like the Activision breach in 2023, where attackers reportedly used an AI-generated SMS message to successfully trick an HR employee, ultimately leading to the exposure of sensitive employee data.
Wow, an AI-written fake text message tricked someone.
Apparently so. AI can be used to create highly convincing phishing emails, voice clones for fraudulent calls, or identify vulnerabilities in systems more rapidly. Adversarial attacks are another concern, deliberately crafted inputs designed to exploit vulnerabilities in an AI model to, for example, extract sensitive training data or cause the model to behave unexpectedly, tricking the AI itself.
So what are the multi-layered mitigation strategies the report recommends to navigate this data privacy and security minefield? How do companies protect themselves?
The report calls for a multi-layered defense, starting with strong policy. Strict corporate policies mandating enterprise-grade, authorized AI tools and prohibiting the use of public tools for work are foundational. Explicitly forbidding sensitive data input into any unsanctioned tool is key.
Now let's see first.
This must be reinforced by continuous, up-to-date employee training, specifically focused on secure AI usage and data handling practices. People need to know the rules and why they matter.
Training is critical.
And technologically, organizations need robust access controls to AI systems and the data they access, data minimization principles, only using necessary data, and strong encryption for data, both at rest, stored, and in transit, moving across networks. Lock it down technically.
Clear policies, reinforced by training, and supported by technology. Got it. Next challenge the report highlights: the black box problem dealing with bias, fairness, and accountability. What's the issue here?
Yes, the inherent opacity, the lack of transparency of the internal workings of these frontier AI models creates significant ethical, fairness, and legal challenges. We don't always know how they arrive at an answer.
What's the core problem with that opacity? Why does it matter if we don't know how it works?
Well, one major issue is algorithmic bias. Models trained on vast, unfiltered internet data or biased historical datasets can learn and inadvertently amplify societal biases present in that data.
Garbage in, garbage out, or bias in, bias out.
Exactly. This can lead to discriminatory outcomes when these models are used in sensitive areas like screening job applications, evaluating loan applications, determining insurance rates, or even assisting in medical diagnoses. It can perpetuate unfairness.
And the lack of explainability. Why is that a problem?
The report notes that the sheer complexity of trillion-parameter models makes it incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible, to trace exactly why a specific output or decision was produced by the model. This black box nature is a major obstacle, particularly in regulated industries or legal contexts that require decisions to be explainable and justifiable. You need to be able to show your work.
And the accountability vacuum you mentioned earlier. Who's responsible when it goes wrong?
That's the challenge when an autonomous AI agent makes an error or causes harm. The report describes it as a murky legal and ethical dilemma. Who is ultimately responsible? Is it the company that developed the model? The company that deployed it? The individual user who provided the prompt?
Yeah, who do you blame?
It's often unclear, creating an accountability vacuum that needs to be addressed legally and organizationally.
How does the report suggest mitigating these ethical and accountability risks? What can be done?
The report's mitigation strategies include significant investment in acquiring or developing diverse, representative datasets for fine-tuning models to actively counteract biases present in broader training data. Better data helps.
Okay, improve the data.
Crucially, for sensitive and critical decisions, maintaining a human in the loop is essential. This allows human judgment and ethical considerations to review and, if necessary, override recommendations or actions proposed by the AI. Keep humans involved in big decisions.
Don't let the AI make the final call on important things.
Right. Regular bias audits of AI systems are necessary to detect and address discriminatory patterns. And organizations must establish clear internal governance frameworks before deploying AI, explicitly defining roles, responsibilities, and accountability for AI outcomes across different teams and individuals.
They're proactively clarifying ownership and oversight before something goes wrong. Define who's responsible up front. The final major challenge identified is the human factor. Workforce disruption and potential skill gaps. This seems like a huge one.
This is perhaps the most complex and profound human capital issue raised by AI integration. While AI is widely projected to create entirely new jobs and roles, it will also inevitably automate many existing tasks within current jobs, leading to significant job displacement and transformation.
Thus, jobs will change, and some might go away.
Yes. The report mentions projections, such as one indicating up to 30% of current U.S. work hours could be automated by 2030, with entry-level white-collar roles often seen as particularly vulnerable to automation of routine tasks.
30% of hours automated. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So displacement is a real risk, but even where jobs aren't eliminated, the nature of the work will change. People will do different things.
Exactly. Jobs won't disappear overnight, but the specific tasks that make up those jobs will change dramatically as AI handles more routine or data-intensive components. This transformation leads to a risk of widening skill gaps within the workforce.
The skill gaps, meaning people won't have the right skills for the new way of working.
Right. The report highlights the lack of in-house AI expertise, not just in building AI, but in knowing how to effectively use it and manage AI-powered workflows as a significant barrier for organizations. It also notes that the skills required in AI-exposed jobs are changing at a much faster pace.
How much faster?
Estimated by PwC to be 66% faster than in other jobs, making staying current a significant challenge for individuals and organizations. The goalposts keep moving.
That rapid evolution of required skills certainly makes workforce adaptation difficult. You constantly have to learn new things. And there's the natural human reaction to this uncertainty, fear, and potential resistance. People get worried.
Understandably so. The narrative of job replacement can understandably create significant anxiety among employees, which can lead to resistance to adopting new AI tools, a preference for familiar manual workflows, and a general lack of engagement with transformation efforts.
How does the report suggest organizations and leaders mitigate these significant human challenges? How do you help the workforce adapt?
The report emphasizes that leadership must treat AI implementation primarily as a comprehensive change management initiative, not just a technology rollout. It's about people, not just tech.
Okay, focus on change management. What does that involve?
This requires massive, sustained investment in upskilling and reskilling programs across the organization to equip employees with the new skills needed to work alongside AI and transition into new roles.
Invest in training. Lots of it.
Leaders must communicate a clear, consistent, and human-centered vision for AI adoption, framing it as augmentation, a tool to empower employees and free them up for more creative, strategic, and human-centric work.
Reinforce that augmentation message.
Fostering a culture of augmentation, not replacement, is key. Appointing internal AI champions within different teams can also help peers who can guide others, share best practices, and demonstrate the value of AI tools in relatable ways.
AI champions.
Yeah.
People helping their colleagues learn. That's smart.
Exactly. It's about empowering employees, showing them how AI makes their work better, and highlighting that their uniquely human skills become even more valuable in an AI-augmented world.
That makes so much sense. Employees need support, clear communication about their future roles, and a tangible path forward that focuses on growth rather than just what might be automated away. Give them hope and skills.
Exactly. It's about empowering employees, showing them how AI makes their work better, and highlighting that their uniquely human skills become even more valuable in an AI-augmented world.
The report stresses that navigating these challenges, the data minefield, the black box issues, and the human factor is not optional. It's absolutely crucial for responsible and sustainable AI adoption that benefits everyone involved. You have to tackle these.
It's foundational. Ignoring these risks derailing the entire adoption process, eroding trust, and causing significant harm, outweighing any potential benefits. Can't sweep them under the rug.
Okay, we've covered the current landscape shifts, compared the leading models, explored tangible enterprise applications, outlined the strategic playbooks for both organizations and employees, and navigated the significant challenges and risks. Now, let's bring this deep dive to a close by looking ahead, as the report does in its conclusion, to the future trajectory of AI beyond 2025. What's next?
The report emphasizes that the developments of 2024 and 2025 that we've discussed, the acceleration towards agentic AI, the necessity of a multimodal strategy, the sharp enterprise focus driving security and governance, and the foundational role of hardware. These are not fleeting trends. They are solidifying as the fundamental pillars for the emerging AI-native business landscape of the coming years.
So these shifts are setting the stage for what comes next. These are the foundations. What are the key future trajectories the report discusses beyond the immediate horizon? Where is this all headed?
Okay, first, they look at the frontier of AI, pushing beyond merely processing and synthesizing existing information towards genuinely creating novel insights and knowledge.
Creating new knowledge, not just summarizing.
Yeah. The report mentions predictions from key figures like Sam Altman, who has publicly speculated that by 2026, AI systems could be capable of generating truly novel scientific insights.
Novel insights. That's different from just summarizing or finding patterns in existing data.
Yeah.
That implies actually creating new ideas or hypotheses that weren't known before, like genuine discovery.
That's precisely the ambition and what defines the next level of AI capability researchers are striving for, moving past recombining and analyzing existing data to actually formulating and testing new scientific hypotheses or generating genuinely new creative concepts. The report frames this potential as the next great race in technology development with truly transformative potential, especially in accelerating fundamental scientific research and solving complex, previously intractable problems.
That is a profound possibility. AI as a discovery engine. What's the second key future trajectory the report points to?
The increasing convergence of AI with physical systems will accelerate significantly. The same AI capabilities that are transforming digital workflows within enterprises will increasingly become embodied in physical forms.
Embodied, like robots.
Exactly. In advanced robotics, fully autonomous vehicles, smart manufacturing equipment, and sophisticated medical devices.
So AI moving from the digital world primarily into the physical world around us, in machines and devices.
Yes, fundamentally transforming industries like manufacturing, logistics, agriculture, and healthcare by giving physical systems advanced perception, decision-making, and autonomous operation capabilities. But, as the report acknowledges, this also brings a significant new set of challenges. Related to safety, real-world reliability, physical interaction with humans, and regulatory frameworks that need to catch up.
You have to worry about the tangible physical consequences when AI is driving a car, operating heavy machinery on a factory floor, or assisting in a surgical procedure. The stakes are higher.
Precisely. The risks become tangible and potentially much higher stakes, requiring even more stringent safety and regulatory controls than for purely digital AI.
And the final trajectory for the future AI market. What else does the report see coming?
The report predicts the continued and increasing rise of smaller, more efficient, domain-specific AI models. While the massive, general-purpose frontier models will continue to push the boundaries of capability, enterprises will increasingly turn to highly specialized models, fine-tuned on their own proprietary internal data for specific business functions or industry verticals.
Smaller, specialized models. Why would companies offer smaller models alongside the giant ones like GPT-4 or Gemini?
The report explains the key benefits. These smaller, domain-specific models are often significantly more cost-effective to train and run than the massive general-purpose models.
Cheaper to use.
Right. They are typically less prone to the hallucination risks of broad models because they are focused on a narrow, well-defined domain, and they can deliver higher accuracy and relevance on targeted tasks within that specific domain because they've been trained on relevant data. They're experts, not generalists.
Less likely to make stuff up if they only know one thing well.
Exactly. The report includes a compelling Gartner prediction here. By 2027, over half of the AI models used by enterprises will be domain-specific, representing a huge jump from just 1% in 2023.
Over half will be specialized models soon. That's a big shift. So alongside the massive versatile models from the major players, we'll see an explosion of smaller, highly specialized AIs doing very specific jobs within organizations really, really well.
It's a key component of the multimodal future we discussed earlier, where organizations leverage a portfolio of AI capabilities, including both generalist giants and highly specialized experts, a mix-and-match approach.
Okay, this has been an incredibly comprehensive deep dive into the agentic age of AI, as outlined in this report. Let's wrap up by summarizing the journey we've taken based on this source material, just the key points.
Okay. We started by understanding the fundamental paradigm shift happening in AI right now, the move to agentic capabilities where AI acts, the embrace of multimodality fusing different data types, the sharp enterprise focus driven by the demands for ROI, security, and scalability, and the absolutely critical foundational role of specialized hardware and vertically integrated cloud stacks.
Then we compared the leading frontier models in this multimodal landscape, OpenAI, positioned as the versatile incumbent with a mature ecosystem. Google is the multimodal and massive context powerhouse, Anthropic is the enterprise challenger strong in advanced reasoning and coding, and Microsoft as the indispensable platform orchestrator hosting and integrating models across its enterprise footprint, knowing who does what.
We then explored how this next-gen AI is already moving beyond experiments to create tangible value in action across the enterprise, seeing specific examples of how it's transforming R&D timelines, redefining customer engagement with personalization and efficiency, and optimizing core business operations in finance, HR, and supply chain with quantifiable impacts, real-world uses.
And we outlined the strategic playbook for successful and responsible integration. The crucial dual-pronged approach requiring both top-down leadership, setting a clear vision, establishing robust governance and policies, and wisely selecting tools, and bottom-up empowerment for employees to master these tools responsibly while consciously developing their essential human skills. How to actually do it.
Finally, we navigated the significant headwinds and challenges that come with this transformation, the critical risks of data privacy and security leakage, the complexities of algorithmic bias, fairness and accountability due to the black box nature of models, and the profound human factor challenges of workforce disruption and skill gaps, outlining the mitigation strategies the report recommends for each, the things to watch out for.
And the core, overarching strategic recommendations from the report that ties it all together, the main takeaway.
It comes back to that dual focus approach. Success in the agentic age requires balancing robust top-down technology implementation, infrastructure, and governance with proactive bottom-up workforce empowerment, training, and cultural adaptation. It's not just about deploying powerful technology, it's about combining technological power with human wisdom, oversight, and adaptability. Tech plus people.
So the takeaway isn't just about the AI models or the hardware. It's fundamentally about how organizations and individuals adapt, learn, and collaborate with this technology to create a future where humans and AI augment each other.
Precisely. Building a resilient AI-native future requires this deliberate combined effort. It takes everyone working together.
This deep dive, drawing extensively from the Agentic Age report, has hopefully equipped you, our listener, with a much clearer, more detailed picture to understand and navigate this complex and rapidly evolving landscape, whether you're preparing for a strategic meeting, trying to catch up quickly in your field, or just incredibly curious about where this technology is taking us.
There's certainly a tremendous amount to consider and keep track of. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about, and it's moving fast. And as the report points out, looking ahead, AI is pushing the boundaries, moving from processing information to potentially creating new knowledge and moving from the digital world into the physical.
That expansion brings immense potential for progress, but also significant new responsibilities we are just beginning to grapple with as a society.
It really does. So let's leave you with this thought to mull over, building on what we've discussed. In a world where increasingly capable AI agents are taking on more tasks and moving into the physical realm, what new, uniquely human problems will you be freed up to solve? And what responsibilities come with guiding these powerful tools towards those solutions? Something to think about.